Buenas, buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and in this video tutorial, we're going to look at how to make some hip hop beats, some trap beats, some cinematic beats with Twin 3 from FabFilter. Now, in this video, I go really in depth to the sound design of some really great sounds. Also, how to modify the presets that are already included inside Twin 3 and how to make them your own. So make sure you guys watch the whole video so you guys can learn a lot of things when it comes to sound design in hip hop and trap music. This is the second part in our hip hop video for sound design sessions or sound design series video for FabFilter Twin 3. In the other series videos, I covered hardstyle, EDM, dubstep, melodic techno as well. So if you guys are interested in making those type of sounds, make sure you guys look at those videos. Anyway, let's go on and watch this video on Twin 3 and hip hop. All right, let's go. Okay, we're in the next beats project. This is more like a trap beat. We have some like those respaces, really heavily distorted 808s, and then we have still some West Coast vibes here. The leads in particular, which I do want to show you. And yeah, let's go ahead and play back this track. All right, so that's that second beat we're going to look at. Now, this one has pretty wide selection of like sound design. The first thing I made with this track was the lead. And what I wanted to recreate was kind of like that classic West Coast synth that has vibrato on it. You kind of do that here. It's actually quite simple patch to make. Let's see, we got some detuning, some master tuning over here, and some pulse width modulation. So let's see if we can do this from scratch. Let's do clean sound, pulse width modulation. Let's do square pure. Let's add 2 XLFOs. And it's going to go on the pitch here and pulse width modulation. Of course, it's very, very slow, so we're going to speed it up. And then we're going to lower the detune here. And we can tempo sync it. Then we're gonna come over here. We're gonna make this mono and change it to one voice. And let's add some portamento. Without portamento, sounds like this. We add portamento. And I think typically we hear this type of sound with the saw wave. And the way I wanted to make it a little different was doing the square wave and then the pulse width modulation. Let's add some keyboard tracking to the pitch offset, and then we can add either a dip, add some drive, and there was also a xylophone on the master pitch, I think, but I'm not sure how much effect it was doing. And the other thing that I had going was the reverb. Let's add an envelope generator. And now this envelope generator is going to control the reverb. Check this out. So basically what I told this reverb here is that whenever this envelope generator is playing, it's going to duck down. And I can change the release here. See that? It's pretty darn cool. Now I can change the reverb time. At first, when I originally made the sound, it was probably around 2 seconds. Because I wanted to have something that was a little bit more in front. But then, as I started mixing, I added more reverb, and then I was like, okay, that's too long. And then I settled upon 3.5. Take a listen to this in the context of the track. All right, take a listen to the original preset, see how close we got. Let's go all the way back. Boom. Oh, so here I modulated the filter peak as well on both the filter peak 2, filter peak 1, and I applied a high cut or a low cut. Sorry. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much a patch. Here you see that the envelope generator is modulating the peaks and the FX delay amount, like I showed you there. Oh, so I also have the delay turn on. So. And that's doing exactly the same thing as I showed you with the reverb. If I have it turned off, the delay plays back the whole time. Turn it on, the delay's gonna duck a little bit. Or more if I wanted to. There you go. So, pretty simple sound, technically speaking, because when you think about it, back in the day, when Dr. Dre kind of made this type of sound that was really popular, the technology was pretty much a Moog synthesizer, synthesizer. And that type of synth would have 3 oscillators, 1 filter, and pretty much limited to that. I'm not entirely sure if he just made it on a Moog, but that's what I'm thinking of. And even then, if you use some other type of synthesis, it was pretty spot on, where you put a pitch envelope on, or pitch LFO on the oscillator to create a vibrato sound. The other thing that could have been done was, if you're doing FM, you could put a sine wave and then modulate that with a really slow operator, and boom, you kind of have the same type of sound. But what I think happened was he used a synthesizer, an analog synth, and did so. So basically the only thing that I'm bringing into the equation here is the pulse width modulation, the reverb, and the delay. Everything else was pretty standard type of stuff. I also play around with the drive, again, because the drive is going through different type of distortions. You have the liberty of creating different timbres out of the same sound. So here we have a very distorted lead here. And here you have open. If I were to bring this all the way down, sounds a bit less congested, but part of that sound is a little bit nasally, so I like it like that. And then over here, as I'm building up to the lead again, or to the chorus again, I have a lot of drive and distortion on different channels as well. And if I were to have this clean, it wouldn't cut that well in mix. So not only this is a sound design tool, it's also a mixing tool. So you can look at it both ways. Okay, now the next patch I want to show you in this track right here is the 808. It's such a nice little patch. So originally I made a kick drum, and I was like, okay, sounds good. What if I put long decay on it? Well, that sounds pretty decent. It doesn't sound too bad. Let's play the whole track. Okay, it didn't sound too bad, but then I was like, well, I really want a bass in there, like an 808. So I went ahead and overdrive it. So I grabbed not the same MIDI, but pretty close to the same MIDI, and then I added some melodic information on there. And let's see, let's add this right here. Or let's play back. Let's see. There's 3 808s in there. So here's the first one. It's basically just a sine wave. It's playing back. Any of the filters on there, they're deactivated because that still creates some tone. See that? Hey. That's so nice. So even just adding filters will create harmonics. So I wanted to have something that was clean. So I have a clean sine wave with the pitch envelope on there. The pitch envelope is carried out through different envelopes. Here I have the one that's doing the click, and then, or the click here, and then I have a pitch envelope over here. So this was the long one. This is a shorter, punchier one. And then I have new effects on it, again, to keep it nice and clean. The only thing that I'm copying is the portamento over from the other 808s, so they stay along with, or in tune with one another. Here, Now I have the distorted 808 thing in there. So here I activate the filters, which were previously deactivated. See that? Activated. Added some drive. Added the filters in drive. And that's pretty much the same sound. And it works, it's built upon that 808 preset that I made. So we have those XLFOs that we saw earlier, modulating the detuning on the oscillator 1. Again, we're building up these sounds, right? So it's a little bit more complex, a little bit more harmonic and complex. And then I have an envelope generator, the master one that's going all the way for, I think, 430 milliseconds to decay. There's a bit of sustain. Notice how I don't have the sustain all the way up, because that's going to take away the movement from the track, and that's a problem I see with a lot of people working with their 808s. They just keep them flat. It's static. It's, come on, we need a little bit of groove. We need some movement. And even though the 808 is a little bit slower sound, we can still create some dynamics and some movement with some envelopes. So if I were to play that static 808 with the track, it's not cutting it. It's not good. It's no bueno. So I brought that all the way down. Oh, sorry. Not all the way down. It was probably around minus 12. Let's see. Minus 13. So you see, this dynamic field, this envelope does not affect our tone. Instead, it affects the dynamics and the movements of the sound. So, it makes it a little bit, it works along with the groove. And again, I think I mentioned earlier that you're going to play around with the pitch envelope and the decay envelope of your kick drum, of your 808, to make sure that it fits the groove of your sound better, of your song. It has to work with the percussion, it has to work with the melody, so keep that in mind. Okay, so that's it for the sound. Let's go over to the next sound I want to show you, which is the little theremin right here. Oh, of course I have to turn them on. And this is a really nice, sweet sound. It's for the daisy flute. And then I change it a little bit. See that? I was like, okay, no, I need to change the frequency here and I need to speed it up. Right? And then I change the filters, I think. Let's see. And the ADSR right here. It's pretty close. Let's see what I have here. I think I modulate the filter frequency also with the keyboard track so it matches it. And that's pretty much it. On the face of things, It's a really simple sound, quote unquote, but because we're able to modulate the filter frequency, the peak, and modulate them over and over again with different parameters, it's what makes the sound very, very, very musical. And then there's a detuning quality here, so I'm guessing this is modulates the distortion. Ooh. All right, the next sound I want to show you is the 808, because I forgot to show you the distorted re-space 808, which is over here. Okay, so as you can hear there, it consists of two layered 808s. The first one is the tonal one, which is basically that 808 that I showed you earlier. Except it has chorus, distortion, and it plays around with the unison. So if I were to have this with just one voice, and I think I changed the oscillators here as well. Right? So I changed the oscillators to get saw waves. There you go. Turn that one on as well. And I think also playing around with the filter too. Yeah, so whereas this is doing a little bit of boost there to create some distortion, this has moved this over here forward higher in the frequency range to create more distortion up there, and also moved everything a little bit there. So this sounds really similar to a drum and bass re-space, which is essentially one saw wave detuned by another saw wave, or square wave, pulse width modulation wave. However you want to do that detuning, you have one wave that's detuned from another, and you add some unison and create this mess, this beautiful mess of phasing. You could also kind of do with chorus, not the same, but pretty similar. So here, essentially, you have that, those oscillators and the filters. I'm gonna lower that tone post, it was really loud. And then I have the chorus. And distortion. And like I mentioned many times before in these videos, the drive is going through different distortions. Which is pretty cool, because if you were to have all the low end towards the end of this, kind of like an amp simulator type of thing, or cabinet, depending on how you want to look at it, you would overdrive it a lot quicker if you had the low end in there. So by the nature of decreasing the low end, get a lot of mid-range harmonics that are very, very clean, actually. So that this kind of forces us to actually use an 808 or a different sub. Which is just that clean sub that I showed you earlier. That has that same portamento as this 808 over here. So, yeah, we can keep things nice and tight. And by the nature of us being forced to add another sublayer, we can have really nice control over the harmonics and also our dynamics within a mix. Because if we were to do this as well with our sub, it would not be nice. And I can show you by taking this drive down, removing the sub here, and then I'm going to add a Saturn here. And we're going to use a amp. So you see here how using the amps inside Saturn 2, even if we drive them, because they're by nature amps, they're not really overdriving on the bass. If we were to use another plugin, let's say Fast Distortion from FL Studio, there's no pre-EQ built into this. So as soon as we drive it in, we have harmonics everywhere, with no great definition in particular. And because of that, the mid-range is just not there. Even if we were to filter out some of these, some of the harmonics in the low and the mid-range, I mean the low and the high end. In post, and if we were to do it in pre as well, it just doesn't sound as clean and as defined. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's get rid of this guy. Oh, I was gonna do this. Hold on. Okay, got that turn off. Okay, cool. Okay, now we introduce the chorus and distortion back in. And we have this really overdriven 808 that kind of sounds like a guitar as well, and a respace, a drum bass respace. So we have all that going within the same sound. If you want to get more attunement out of your sound, try this out. So you can play around with the spread of the unison detune, the rate and the depth inside the chorus, and the stair width. And you can create pretty epic sounds there. Okay, so that's that sound right there. And then, yeah, the soft stabs are quite plain. just two saw oscillators with a little bit of reverb, delay, chorus, and a little bit of drive. And a filter with an envelope that has the sustain brought down a tiny bit and some release. So it's a pretty easy patch to create. There's a pitch envelope on the detunes for the oscillators as well. To create a click on the stab. There's also the polyphony set up to 10 and 4 voices of unison. It was overall a very easy patch, but it's quite effective, as you can hear. Really clean. There's really no need to do more EQing, but if you had to, you have 4 EQs here. Maybe you could add keyboard tracking to it. And what's the coolest thing about this is you can think about it as an EQ that moves on with your MIDI. So this eliminates the need to change the frequencies as you're playing around, as you're trying to mix. Because a lot of times I see people, particularly people who mix like acoustic music, they'll put an EQ on a synthesizer and say, okay, let me just take out the high end, and boom. But the problem is, since that synth is playing a lower note, the fact that you're taking off so much of the high end out, you're really going to tug that instrument way farther in the mix. So what you can do with FabFilter Twin is put the peak right here and just put it right there where you need it, and this will move dynamically with the instrument. So that means you don't have to make such a drastic high end cut on the synth. You can just drag it a little tiny bit, and then we'll move along with your keyboard tracking. You could also do this, I think. Let's see. So that's linear right there. But if you wanted to change the resonance, you could also do so. So you can make the resonance be sharper. So let's see. Theoretically, what I just told you earlier was here. So I'm doing less and less aggressive EQ on the high end as I go down on the keyboard. But if I'm pushing up, I'm doing that EQ. I could bring it down a little bit right there. And it's becoming more and more aggressive. That kind of hurt my ear a little bit. If I were to bring this down. The EQ cut is less aggressive. So it's like having a dynamic EQ built into your synthesizer. Mind blown. It just makes it so much easier to work this way. And there we go. That's a really cool mixing tip. Okay, let's move on to the next sound, which means I have to open up another FOP. So I'll see you guys right here when I open up the next FOP. All right, so I pulled up the FOP here for the rest of the beats here. As you can see, I made them all like pretty quickly within the same project. And these I didn't flesh out into a full track like the other ones. So there's a little bit less instrumentation. And what I want to show you here is that even with the same presets, you can create something that's totally different. So let's start off with this one right here, which is like a trap EDM type of thing. Okay. Then the next one is like reggaeton type of thing. That's all really is. There's no really melody to it, but I just thought it was a nice little groove. Then this is a cinematic one. Okay. We just went from a really aggressive beat to a little happy one. But anyway, here you go. Those are the different variations or different beats that I made using similar sounds. So first off, here we have the little happy EDM one. And that one has this preset called Veiled. For that one, I added more drive and I changed the some information on the XLFO over here. And changing the filter frequency offset, the FX reverb amount, and the drive amount within 4 bars, I think. And I think they're moving a little bit slower, so it's like a ramped up saw wave. If you can see here, the XLFO that shows you like a sound wave right here, but when you change the balance of it, it changes the wave. So let me show you. See right there, it's a sine wave. If I were to change the balance on it, changes it to like a saw. If I were to have it all the way to the right, you have a ramp up. Change it down to the left, you got a ramp down. See that? It's a little cool trick. Let's go back. It was roughly around there. I don't know. It feels like I feel like the melody's a little bit nostalgic, so I wanted to add some reverb. You know, a lot of times in movies they'll add like reverb to like signify like a past memory or like a dream or something. So I wanted to do that. All right, let's move on to the next sound here. In here, that's quite interesting. Let's see. It's this preset called Future Saw. And it's quite straightforward here. It's a bunch of saw waves and a little bit of noise and a sine oscillator. But it's doing the little future saw type of thing where it's a glide or a slow ramp up into the sound. Instead of being straightforward like this. So We have this right here. Ooh, sorry. There you go. Sounds very different. Whereas if we have something that's immediate. On top of that, we're also doing that with the filter. See that? Now if we add some envelope to this, lower the attack, or the decay, sorry. And let's take the sustain down. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward sound. There's a bit of reverb on it, some chorus, delay, compression. Again, what's so awesome about the synth is that the fact that the oscillators are drifting, and they're drifting really, really well. It's not like so many other analog emulations that you have out there that have this really extreme drift that's not natural at all, or have this drift that's quite static. Either too much or too little is not right. This is right. And then there's a detunement as well here. And it just sounds so nice. All right, so that's that sound right there. The kick drum is pretty much a kick I made myself here. That's a variation on the 808. So you have the XFO again, modulating the detuning. Then have reverb and drive and compression. You can see here that there's a envelope, pitch decay envelope. He's not just modulating the pitch decay, it's also modulating the filter to peak. And yeah, so it starts off high and then it lowers down. So you get a little bit snappier sound. There you go. It's another tip to make your kick drums, your 808s, a little bit punchier. Drive in, just a little click, and then back off for a second, and let the bass part of the kick drum breathe, but punch in through really quickly. There we go. And then there's also this bass right here. This is similar to the Moog I made, the Moog bass. It's 3 oscillators, 2 of them are the same pitch, one of them is an octave lower, and there's a envelope on the filter. It's kind of doing a similar thing to the Future Saw, except it's a little bit more pronounced in the attack. So all these things create a little bit of differences, and once you stack them up together, it sounds pretty nice. Okay. The next one is another variation on that 808 sound. Just a lot more drive now. And we have some envelope generators are affecting the filter frequency offset and the filter frequencies as well, and the peaks I think too. So yeah, peaks as well. All right, and with some drive in there. Along with that slow pitch decay. The key right here. See, if it's quick, we don't have that same effect, but if it's slower, it sounds like an overdriven reggaeton type of snare. I mean, type of a bass drum. And there's not many, how do you say, kind of sounds like reggaeton, but really isn't. This playing triplets, so it's a bit different, but it kind of has a vibe like that. The cool thing here is, along with the claps, is the little closed hat here. And these are playing these notes right here. And I brought the filter frequency offset down to make it deeper, to sound more like Latin percussion. And then I have the typical velocity mapping there. If all the velocities were the same, it'd sound pretty static. But because we have the velocity changing, we have this movement, this groove. And then we have this snare, a funky snare. With, I think, a bit more drive. And a few other changes, but yeah, that's pretty much all the drum sounds. And then have that 909 clap, pitch down. See that? Pretty cool. I explained the 909 clap in a different video where I'm making melodic techno. So if you're interested in how to design that sound, make sure you check out the melodic techno track that I make for this channel. Just search up FabFilter Twin 3 Sound Design Series Melodic Techno. It should be the video that was released by me on this channel before this one. So make sure you check it out. It's a pretty good video. And I go into depth on how to make this clap. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is this beat right here, the somatic ones. Okay, here the kick drum is this one. A little bit more straightforward. It's a pretty regular 808 with just a bit more drive. And I think I changed the envelope a little bit. Yep. And then here's the bass parts. Sounds super, super duper fat. So there's 4 oscillators. 2 of them are playing 1 octave or 16, and the other one's playing 32. So 1 octave lower. There is modulation in the filter 1 frequency and the FX delay amount, because I do have a delay there. Coarse drive compression. It already sounds pretty darn huge with just the filters. This is what it sounds like without the filters. It's going to be really loud. Let me bring this down. All right. So adding the filters, we got this. All right. We have one that's doing a low cut. And the one's doing a low boost. It's very subtle, but it does help. Amazing. Okay. And then we have the envelopes that are modulated by these the envelope generator, the filter frequencies being modulated by that. And then we have keyboard tracking modulating, or velocity modulating the frequency, filter frequency offset. Next up is reverb. Because I wanted to sound big, I wanted to have big reverb. Not too big though, so it's 3.9. There's a bit of pre-delay on it. Then there's a delay here. With a little bit of feedback, not too much. But if you want to play with the feedback, you can get some spooky sounds, as I'll show you in a bit, with a different patch that I made. And then we have the chorus. And then some drive. Again, you could do with a little bit less drive. And it still sounds pretty darn good. But in my case, I added more distortion. Because I was going to use the sub from somewhere, from another patch like I did with the previous trap track. This is basically the same sound again, but without the drive. And I muted all the oscillators except one that is said to be a triangle wave. I think I could probably get away with the sine wave. I think it's actually cleaner. All right, now for the spooky sound here. So this is just a patch right here called Gentle Touch. I might have just changed the filter a little bit, but I can't really tell. I don't think, yeah. Nothing much. And that's playing an arpeggiator. And that's playing 16 notes straight. You can change the groove here if you want. All right, and then the next patch here is it's an analog snare machine patch. I changed it quite a bit. Simply like muting the oscillators, the noise oscillators, and keeping the sine wave in there. Or triangle might be, yeah, it's triangle. And yeah, pretty much doing that. Adding more delay to it. right, let's see what type of delay I added. 16 note and straight. And I'm doing that trick where I use an envelope generator to mute the delay while my sound is playing. And the reason I wanted this sound is because I've been listening to a lot of these sounds that young producers are using with what's this subgenre called? Funk and it's another subgenre of something, another genre. I think it's like a subgenre of a synthwave, but they're putting like funk together and they're adding like these cloth sounds and cowbells, lots of cowbells. So I was like, okay, I don't want to use a cowbell, but I'll use like the sine wave from the snare, and I'll kind of recreate that type of thing. But instead of making it like a little groovy, I just decided to go straight ahead and just do it on the one. And without it, the beat actually does sound quite a bit different. You add them here and it does add quite a bit to the beat. You can even do stuff like, let's see. We're playing quarter notes here. What are we playing? We're playing triplets, I think. No, quarters. Yeah, we're playing quarters. So we're gonna change this right here. Definitely adds something to the song if I were to bring it down. That's pretty cool. So let's go back on that, and then okay. So it sounds pretty cool. However, it was not meant for this beat. It was meant for another one. Let me show you what it sounds like before. This is simple. Hardstyle Supersaw, there's 64 voices, 16 voices of unison, and there's stabs right here. I think they're playing, this is the fourth. Four, three, three, okay? And I have lots of saw waves, slightly detuned from one another, and some filtering going on via this envelope generator. And again, the reverb is not playing when the sound is playing. So I'm getting a clean sound in, clean sound out. See that? And then adding delay to it too. Now the delay was meant for the spooky beat. And that is being modulated by an XLFO right here. Every 2 bars to approach you, get closer, and then get farther. And it's also re-triggering. So if I were to take away these stabs right here, it would loop around the whole thing. So it sounds a little bit spooky, a little bit irritating. It goes together. You have to be dissonant to sound spooky. So we have the XFO increasing the delay amount, and also playing around with the the filters. So I have two filters here on the delay, and they're playing in per delay, and it's also increasing the feedback. So as my LFO moves and increases, it pushes all this, and it pushes all these sounds into distortion. And it can really irritate the ear if it's the main sound present over and over again. So be careful with that. Anyway, so that's that sound right there. Let's hop over to the different beat right here. So this is essentially the same instruments, right? Except they're playing a little bit different. The pitch and hi-hat. Veiled again, but this time it's playing a little bit more sustained. And it's playing these dissonant notes. Notes that don't sound happy together. This sounds happy. This that doesn't sound too happy. Doesn't sound happy. So I'm using these dissonant notes and repeating them over and over. Right there, right here, and right there. And again right here. So it repeats. And we're getting that movement that we had with the patch earlier. Now let's add this other sound. Use that clap, some delay. Then here's the gentle touch patch, but playing the F sharp, which should not be in the scale, quote unquote. But because we're making dissonant stuff, it is in there. Then I'm using another twin 3 over here with the saw patch, and it's playing the two dissonant notes together, along with the gentle touch patch. Sounds pretty spooky. Out of the dissonant veiled patch. And it sounds really, really spooky. And again, the bass is doing the same, spooky everywhere. Then I try to take it up a notch and went a little bit further. There you go. That one rings out even more. There you go. Finished. We have the veiled patch playing over and over again now. The dissonant notes. I have another veiled patch, but this time with lots of distortion. And I think the filters opened up a bit as well. And I think it's pretty much all that changes at the bass line. Yep, I think it's pretty much those 3 veils and the, let's see, 3. Yep, those pretty much are the only ones that change. So essentially you could put these 2 together and have part of an arrangement. That sounds so hectic. That sounds like Halloween meets hip hop. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, I hope this video inspired you guys to make your own sounds using FabFilter Twin 3. I still don't have Twin 3 in my vernacular completely, as you can see. But I hope it inspired you to delve deeper into Twin 3. Download a demo of it, give it a try. As you can see, you can just copy some of these presets and these patches over and apply it to your own music. And you can make happy stuff, you can make really aggressive stuff. And because we're using synthesis, it's up to you to decide what to do with it. It's a little bit different than sampling. I know like hip hop sampling's always been a lot of like the main way to get the vibe going. But when you add your own synthesis, you have a lot of control that you wouldn't have with a sample. So again, I hope this video inspired you. Make sure you give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you stay up to date with our videos that are coming up. There's more videos in this sound design series. I have a reggaeton video coming up and also an analog drum emulation. So I use Twin 3 to emulate different drums, the 909, the 808, the Tanzbar, the what was this other one? The SDS, the one that they used for toms in the 80s. I forgot the names of these drums, but there's just so many of them. So basically recreate some of these patches and make them for FabFilter Twin 3 and then get really, really close. One of them is the 808 patch, which is this one right here. Where is it? 808 conga. I also do the conga, so yeah. Let's see, where is it? That is so close. When you look at it with an analyzer, like this, you can barely tell the difference from the real 808. Anyway, stay tuned for more videos, guys. Appreciate your time. Again, make sure you subscribe, like, and ring the notification bell to stay up to date with the stuff here at Music Marketing TV. Once again, I'm Kevin Ochoa, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.